Good morning, students. I hope my audio, video, the control room, everything is visible. If it's visible, just let me know because we are testing a new way to do a YouTube live, not from the regular Zoom thing. So if you're able to see the screen, just let me know that yes, we are able to see the screen, and then we can start off. In the meanwhile, let me. Yep, everybody is able to see the screen. Okay. So students, welcome to this session. It will be nice interacting with you. We'll be having multiple sessions as communicated on Wednesday and Friday, where we'll be revising quickly important topics. We'll be understanding, your doubts, your concerns, and we'll make you prepared and ready for your examination. Right now, before we start into the topic, today's topic is non-profit organization. That has been the most demanded topic by a lot of students. So we'll get into that. But before we get into that, let me give you a few insights which will help you understand and have a comfort over this subject. See, accounting, it's your first paper at all three levels. Okay, and accounting is something which will not leave you throughout your career. So whatever you do, accounting will be back of your mind. So we need to understand and we need to know the logics, we need to understand the concepts and start liking this subject. Only then our preparation for the examination and also for our future would be better. Okay, so just because there is some one tricky adjustment, just because we are not able to pass one journal entry, you should not start hating this subject. I know a lot of you hate mathematics. I know a lot of students who do that, but accounting is something which we cannot avoid. Okay, so this is something which will be with us. So start falling in love with the subject, start liking the subject. That is the first thing I want to highlight it to you. The second thing what I wanted to tell you is, see, there are a lot of chapters, there are a lot of tricky questions, there are a lot of difficult questions, but the good news is there are a lot of easy questions as well. How many of you think that institute gives us only tough questions in the examination? Or if you have seen any past exam paper, was there any paper where none of the questions were attemptable? Have you come across any such questions paper? You can just respond to the chat by typing in the chat box. And in the meanwhile, I'll show you something what I wanted to show before we start. So we got a couple of comments, I guess. Yes, tough. What? Sorry. So yeah, sorry. Initially, when we were also doing CA, when I was in my CA foundation, always there used to be a fear that every time there will be difficult questions only, every time there will be tough questions only. But then we realized as we looked at past exam papers that not all the questions are difficult. What we need to understand is, yes, these are the questions that we need know, these are the questions which we can attempt, and based on that we will be able to score whatever we are required to score in the examination and clear the examination. Okay, if someone wants to score 90, 95, 100, yes, for them they have to be master of everything. Not master of everything, but even if you are master of 80, 90% of the syllabus, then it is true. For those of you who have a target of 60s plus marks and all of that, you just need to understand what kind of questions the institute tests. Now I'll show you something, where we have this past exam analysis. It's just loading, just a second. So if you look at the past exam analysis of the last 5 attempts, okay, there is some consistency in the way the questions are asked. Okay, theoretical framework, yes, there are some questions, but then see, rectification of errors 5, 10, 10, 7, 10 consistently. BRS 10, 5, 4, 10, 10 consistently. Inventory one question consistently. Depreciation one question consistently. Then consignment one question consistently. Once in a while they didn't ask question, but then again it was being asked. Average due date every attempt you see 5 marks. Average due date is something which I believe that students should not just close their eyes and solve the question. Even if I wake you up in the midnight and tell you to solve an average due date question, you should be able to solve. So these are the chapters. Let's say 5 marks here, maybe sometimes 5 marks here. Then comes the core of where students sometimes face difficulties, where students find difficulties or they believe that these are tough. Now what are these? Final accounts, again every attempt one question. Partnership account every attempt one question. Financial statement for not for profit organization, NPO, that is our topic of discussion. Every attempt you can easily see 50, even if you take 10 on an average, 10 10 10 30 marks. Company's account, issue and forfeiture, another 10 to 15 marks, and then some simpler chapters. Now what I'm trying to tell you is, if you concentrate, see, you have to read all the chapters. I'm not saying no. By now you would have completed first time study or watching the videos of all the chapters. Now your focus should be, hey, this is the area where I can secure my marks. This is my area where I can score the passing marks or the 40 50, what I'm concerned about. Then with additional questions I'll be able to score exemptions and beyond that. So now our focus will be initially to master these chapters. So let us say we can, even if we can attempt or get 25 somewhere here, then another 10 somewhere here, that itself is 35 marks. Then you have these simpler chapters where you can score additional marks, correct? So don't get into the revision mode or don't get into this examination mode thinking that there are lots of difficult questions that the institute will be asking. I know there are tricky adjustments, and I'll also tell you, even in a question with a tricky adjustment where you do not know how to approach that, you will still be able to score 6 to 7 marks in the entire question. Okay, so because ICI gives us stepwise marking, so even if you don't know the particular adjustment, don't be scared. A lot of students, the mistake that they do in the exams is, the moment they see a tricky adjustment, they will say, I will not touch this question at all. Don't do that. For example, in NPO or in partnership or in PF, final accounts, there is one tricky adjustment. Accept that there is a tricky adjustment. Apart from that, rest all things can't you not solve? Can you not calculate depreciation? Can you not calculate what will be the gross profit? Can you not calculate the present the balance sheet, the P&L, the trading account? You will get, I'll tell you, because of stepwise marking, even if you don't do a tricky adjustment correctly, you will be able to score easily. Out of a 10 mark question, 6 to 7 marks will be in your pocket. Don't leave a question because there is a tricky adjustment. You can do it at the end, but you should not, apart from few assumptions, there is nothing complicated. And here, so today we will be starting with the first topic that I will be targeting is financial statement for not-for-profit organization. And let me tell you, this is one question or this is one area where again you can score easily 8 to 10 marks. No scope of marks deduction. One tricky adjustment here or there would be there, that also once in a while, otherwise no scope of marks deduction, right? So let's get into NPO. Any thoughts you have, any questions you have, any area, any specific topic you want me to take in this, any specific question you want me to solve in this, please let me know. We will definitely handle that, right? So this was just the general GAN that I wanted to share with you. Please be comfortable. Please note that this paper is not as tough as it appears, and you have to love accounting. There is no other choice. There is no other choice, because in inter also we have 2 accounting paper. In final we have financial reporting, and fortunately or unfortunately, this is the first paper. And if your opening batsman does well, if the first paper does well, then definitely you will have an advantage in the remaining papers, right? So this was the analysis part. Please keep this in mind. And true and false question, even there you can score good amount of marks. Small theory short course, there also you can score good amount of marks. So that should not be a challenge at all. So let me see if we have any questions from the students. I'll just check it up. Okay, so let's get into the subject directly without spending much of time. I'll be noting down few things here. You need not write it down parallelly. These will be general approach or type of questions that you will get. Then what we will do is your specific questions I'll definitely take. I will also take you through the last 4 exam papers and you will understand that it is not as difficult as it appears. See, one question here and there will be difficult. Again, I am repeating this thing again and again. One question here, one question there will be difficult, but not all the questions are difficult, right? So now, when it comes to your, NPO, which we call as not-for-profit organization or non-profit organization. I mean, either ways you can call it. That doesn't make a difference. The thing that you are tested in this is preparation of income and expenditure account, balance sheet, and sometimes they may test you to prepare receipts and payments. Okay. Now, income and expenditure, if I give you a simple trial balance, then I don't think there will be much of a challenge for you to prepare income and expenditure account, because you have been preparing profit and loss account and balance sheet right from 11th standard. So there is nothing new that we need to learn as a fundamental concept. Credit all the income, debit all the expenditure, you will get your income and expenditure account. But sir, it is not so simple. There are so many adjustments, there are outstandings, there are prepaid, there is subscription, there is this capital fund. There are so many things. So what we'll do is we will bucket them into specific categories and tackle one by one the items that might cause you trouble in the examination. Okay. Now, as far as balance sheet is concerned, I don't think there is much for you to get confused, or there is much for you to not be able to prepare a balance sheet. It's simple. You have liabilities, then you will have assets, then you will have to get the capital fund balance. Generally, the question will require you to prepare opening balance sheet, either receipt and payment or income and expenditure, and closing balance sheet. And let me just write the breakup also. Opening balance sheet generally carries 1.5 to 2 marks. So even if you don't know the answer, even if you are able to prepare opening balance sheet, you will get 2 marks. Okay, and what is there in preparing opening balance sheet? Take all the assets, put on the asset side, take all the liabilities, put on the liability side, balancing figure is capital fund. So I think to that extent we will not be doing mistakes in the exams. Okay, and thankfully there is no specific order in which you have to write the items. It's not a schedule 3 format that you have to follow. But please do maintain, first write the fixed assets, then the current assets, then the cash in bank. On the other side, first write the liabilities and balancing figure as capital fund. Please follow that. But there is no hard and fast rule to follow a specific format. That is one savior here. So just by preparing this opening balance sheet, your 1.5 to 2 marks is in your pocket. Okay. So here there is nothing specific to be discussed. Then you will be given receipts and payment account. Subscription. Yeah, I'll come to subscription calculation part. I'll come to educational institution adjustment. Yes, we'll come to each of them. Subscription, I have not yet started. Then second thing that you might be given in the examination is something called a receipts and payment account. And all of us have known receipts and payment account is nothing but your summary of your cash and bank account. What is the opening balance? What are the receipts? What are the payments? What is the closing balance? Now here, what you need to keep in mind is any hidden adjustment. Now, what is the meaning of hidden adjustment? For example, the receipts and payment account says salary paid. Let me just write it here. Or I'll say 11,000. Easier for me to calculate. Okay, salary paid 11,000 in the receipts and payment, and there was no outstanding salary for the previous year. And in the adjustment, you get to see 1 month salary is outstanding. So what will you do if there is 1 month salary outstanding? How will you calculate that 1 month salary outstanding with these two information? We will add outstanding salary, that will come to it. But what is the outstanding salary? I'll keep it here, it'll be easy for me to see. Okay, okay, fine. Can you just calculate the outstanding salary and tell me what will be the outstanding salary based on these two information? Yes, good. Lohita 1000, better good 1000, Aditya 1000. Good. So what did we do? See, because salary paid is 11,000, adjustment says 1 month salary is outstanding, means we'll assume that this salary paid is for 11 months, which means 1000 is the salary per month, and hence 1 month salary is outstanding, which is 1000. Now what will I do with this 1000? I will take it to my income and expenditure. When we come to that adjustment, I'll explain you that. Now in the morning today itself, Sugam had asked one question. So his thing was, I think 7% interest received on 7% investment. And I don't know, I think 4550 was the amount if I remember it. So this was his question. This is an item in the receipts and payment account. Now, how do we interpret this, or what do we infer from this? See, 4550 is the interest which we have received at 7%. Now from this information, we can determine that the investments are 4550 divided by 7%, that is 65,000. And the question I think mentioned that it is there for last 2 years. So 65,000 is the value of the investment. Correct. So like this, when you are reading the receipts and payment account, please see if there are any hidden adjustments. If there are any hidden adjustments, now that is very important, because only then you will be able to do the adjustment. See, a lot of you find difficulties in NPOs, but you do not find difficulties in final accounts of sole proprietorship. The simple reason is, here we have to check for hidden adjustments. And the reason why Institute has kept this chapter is, you will be auditors in the future. And when you will be auditors in the future, you have to check, is there something missing? Is there something hidden? Can I derive something from this? So that is how this chapter is put into at foundation level. And inter also we have one very nice chapter called accounting from incomplete records. Similar concepts, whatever you learn here, that we will again be learning in inter level also. Okay. So yeah. So the thing is, find if there are any hidden adjustments. Like I gave you 2 examples. So like this, there could be multiple things, so that you can look at the receipts and payments and you will be able to find out. So let me just quickly take you through one receipt and payment account from one of the past exam papers. So this I am referring to is the examination. Which attempt is this? November 20 paper. Okay, so this is not a receipt and payment. This is income and expenditure. Yeah. So here we have summary of receipts, not even a receipt and payment account. They have given summary of receipts and payment. Subscription receipt, will deal with it separately. Donation raised for meeting revenue expenditure, there is again item of revenue income. Interest on investments at 9% per annum, 90,000. This is what I was referring to, what Sugam had asked in the earlier to me. So 9% per annum means what? 90,000 is the interest on investments at 9%. From this, what can we decide, or what can we infer? That the value of investments $90,000 divided by 9%, which is how much? 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs is the value of investment on which we have received interest on investments at 90,000. Okay. Then charity show collection is there. Okay. Then we have payment for medical supply, honorarium to doctors, salaries, sundry expenses, equipment purchase, charity show expenses. Okay, that is the information of receipts and payments. Now, when you are reading through this receipts and payment account, as you read, don't read the amounts. As you read, try to identify what is going to income and expenditure, what will go to balance sheet. For example, subscription received, where will show this, income and expenditure or balance sheet? Sir, what question? This will go to income and expenditure, definitely. I know there are adjustments, I'll come to it. Now from this interest on investments, something should trigger your mind that there will be an investment item that should be shown in the balance sheet. Okay. Then here you see equipment purchase. Will equipment purchase go to income and expenditure account? Will equipment purchase go to income and expenditure account? Yes, Aditya, no. Others? I know there is some lag because of, there will be 2 to 3 second lag. No. It's simple. I don't think I'm asking something which is a rocket science. Then, donation raised for meeting revenue expenditure. Generally, donation for specific purpose will be put to your capital account or in the balance sheet under the liability side. You'll show it under that side. But if donation is general, if it is raised for meeting revenue expenditure, you will show it under income and expenditure account. You will not show it in the balance sheet side. So as you read receipts and payment, you should be able to analyze these things. So here there is expenditure and income. This is a study material. Okay, right. Then we'll come to subscription side. And as I told you, it says prepare income and expenditure for the year ended 31st March and balance sheet as in 31st March. This is how generally a question would be asked. Sometimes it could be income and expenditure followed by RNP. Either ways, these are two items will be tested, 10 marks. So I'll tell you how the mark structure are also worked out in that. So now receipts and payments, there will not be anything great other than this. At times there may be a possibility you may have to find out the balancing figure, that is opening balance may be missing or closing balance may be missing. Opening balance may be missing or closing balance may be missing. You have to carefully calculate. Don't just take any balancing figure and then do it, because one thing out of the discussion, not only related to NPO, to all the students right now who are listening to this lecture, I want to tell you one thing. If you are given a trial balance, or if you are given something called like a receipts and payment and additional information, tallying the balance sheet should not be a problem at all, because what is there in the trial balance? You have income, you have expenses, you have assets, you have liabilities. Correct? You have income, you have expenses, you have assets, you have liabilities. Income will have some credit balance, say for example 5,000. Expenses some 4,000. Okay. Assets, let us say 3,000. Liabilities will be 4,000. Now, broadly, if these are the four categories of items that can exist in a trial balance, tell me why will the P&L and the balance sheet not tally? There could be some errors. Tallying, so, the biggest problem what a lot of students face, and you would also have been facing, you are not able to tally the balance sheet, which means fundamentally you are doing something wrong. So the trick that I tell to the student is, for TB items, it appears once. For adjustments, it appears twice. If you follow this, say for example, there is an adjustment called closing stock, the most common adjustment. Closing stock, once in trading account, once in balance sheet, it will appear 2 times. Okay, but if closing stock is given in trial balance, it will appear only once. It will not appear twice. So, if you are clear with this, I'll bet that your balance sheet will tally always. It may be incorrect, but it will tally. If you put one item of expenditure as an asset, balance sheet will still tally. But your entries may be wrong, but balance sheet will still tally. Okay, that is one thing I wanted to highlight here as we are discussing. Okay, so receipts and payments, after having looked at the receipts and payments, then we will have to look at the key areas where we need to do adjustments in income and expenditure account. The first and the most favorite area is subscription. So subscription. Now what is the problem with subscription? The problem with subscription is there will be, let us say, year 1 and we are in year 2. Okay, so there will be outstanding. There will be received in advance and they will be received during the year. Okay, right? These are the things, these are the combinations. Opening outstanding, closing outstanding. Opening received in advance, closing received in advance, and received during the year. Now, how do we ensure that we don't do a mistake in this account called subscription income? How much should be recognized in the income? Why? How do we ensure that we do not do a mistake? So again, let us take one question from the examination itself. Here you see subscription due, and one more thing, students, it should be audible. If it is not audible, please let me know. I think students have. Let me ask my team also if they are facing any audio related issues. Doesn't look like. Yeah, I think it's audible. Now, where was I? I was in subscription. Okay. Now, one more thing that students you need to keep in mind is sometimes the institute, they try to trick you by giving, years ulta pulta. Meaning to say, sometimes they'll give first year here and second year this side. Some other time they will put the first year here and second year will be given this side. So please be careful. Just read this title correctly. I remember once what they did, in partnership account. When I was writing CA Inter, the thing was the ratio was B is to C. For example, I don't remember the names and all. In the next paragraph, they gave something in the ratio of C is to B. So, what is the thought? You will say, okay, for example, say old profit sharing ratio. And this is the sacrifice ratio. For example, old profit sharing ratio is 3 is to 4. Sacrifice ratio of C is to B is 1 is to 2. So, if you don't read this, letters correctly, you will assume that sacrifice ratio is also in the ratio B is to C. And you will make a mistake. So please read the questions carefully, amounts carefully, and don't hurry while counting number of months and all of that. I have seen students losing 8 marks because they counted 1 month extra. So in the pressure of the examination, what they did was instead of saying counting April, May, June, they counted April, May, June, July because the date was given as 1st of July, and then entire 8 marks gone. Calculation everything is fine, but just because that month was calculated incorrectly, the entire marks were lost. So please be calm and do the counting. Okay. So here in the examination we have 1 4 20 and they have 1 4 21. I guess no. What is that? 31st March 21. Okay. 31st March 21. Right. So this is April 21, April 20, and this is March 21. What are they saying? Subscription due. Subscription due means what? The club has to receive the money. So subscription due, that is outstanding. Opening outstanding is 15,000. Closing outstanding is 22,000. So they have to receive. Outstanding means they have to receive 15,000 and 22,000. Then received in advance 12,000 and 7,000. Received during the year. Where do we get that number from? Here, 5 lakhs. Okay. Now the question is, how much will be taken to income and expenditure account? I'll tell you 2 methods only. Very quickly, 2 methods only. If you follow that, you will never make a mistake in the examination. You will never make a mistake in the examination. What are the 2 methods? One is the account method. That is, prepare a subscription account. Now, when you prepare a subscription account, consider it to be a combined account. What do I mean by combined account? Combine outstanding, current year received and received in advance. Combine all of 3 into a single ledger. Combine all of 3 into a single ledger. How do I do that? First, subscription outstanding means the club has to receive, means it is an asset. Asset has a debit opening balance, correct? So what basically what we will do is, these outstanding and received in advance will post into the subscription account. Okay, outstanding means what? We have to receive. It's an asset. It's a debit balance. So to subscription outstanding as on which date? 31st of April 20. How much is the amount? Don't worry about I am calculating fast in Excel. You'll calculate with the calculator in the exam. That will be fine. Not a problem. Understand the concept. Okay. So subscription outstanding 15,000. Okay. Then opening balance of received in advance. This is a liability because we have collected in advance. So by subscription received in advance as on 1st of April 20. How much is the amount? The amount is 12,000. Now, closing balance is also post. What will be the closing balance? See, opening balance is on the debit side. Closing balance will be a balancing figure on the opposite side. So, by subscription outstanding on which date? 31st of March. How much is the amount? 22,000. Then, to subscription, I'll just put in to subscription received in advance 31st of March. How much is the amount? Received in advance is 7,000. Okay. Now, we have received during the year 5 lakhs. When we receive a subscription, what is the entry? Bank account debit to subscription account. Bank account debit to subscription account. So here you will have by bank or by receipts and payment account, how much? 5 lakhs. Okay. Just you need to post this, and whatever is the balancing figure, this will be transferred to income and expenditure. How much is that? So if I just sum this up, again I'm telling, don't worry about my speed in Excel. If you want, I will, we can revisit the video, do the calculation. Sorry, I think the chair is blocking the view. Yeah, 5,34,000 total. 5,34,000 total this side also. So basically 534 minus 15,000 minus 7,000. Okay. So 5,12,000 will be transferred to income and expenditure account. Simple, nothing complicated. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now there is another method also, that is preparing a statement. I normally was never comfortable with statement, but now I'm okay because now I've understood the logic behind that. But when I was a student, I never used to like the statement format. What is the statement format? Take the receipts. How much is that? 5 lakhs. Now, out of this 5 lakhs, you have collected something for the previous period. What is this? 15,000. This 15,000 was outstanding for the previous period. This 15,000 was outstanding from the previous period. Correct? Now, if this 50,000 is outstanding from the previous period, means what? Means we have collected this 50,000 in the current period. So, this 15,000 is collected in the correct period. It is included here, but it is not an income of the current year. So, something which is not the income of the current year, what will we do? We will exclude it. Simple. So, less outstanding subscription on 1st of April 20. How much is that? 15,000. Now, once you are able to fix one item, that is opening outstanding subscription was subtracted, others all will follow in the reverse order. I'll tell you the logic part. Okay. Then, the subscription received during the year, we also collected something in advance for the next year. What was that? We collected subscription received for next year 7,000. Is that subscription income for the current year? It is not for the current year. So, less subscription in advance as on 31st of March, that is 7,000. Then there is a subscription outstanding in the current period. That subscription is the income for the current period, but we'll collect in the next year. But is that an income for the current year? Yes. So add subscription outstanding at the end, which is 22,000. Then there was some subscription which was received in advance in the previous year. That is the income of the current year. So what will we do? We'll add that. So add subscription received in advance on 1st of April. That is how much? 12,000. Okay. Now if you do this adjustment, what do you get? 5 lakhs 12,000. Either ways you can do. Either ways you can do. There should not be any confusion in this. Subscription related adjustment, the working note will generally carry 1 mark. You should not lose this 1 mark. Okay. So let us see what the institute has given as the. So they have given in the statement format. And please note, statements can, working notes can be given in statement format and also in ledger format. Both are acceptable. There is no problem at all. Okay. I hope there are no questions so far. Okay, now this is one aspect where a lot of students try to face difficulties. If at all you are confused with this statement in examination, just do this. This I don't think you will be confused by preparing a combined account. Okay, that is one aspect. Then similar to this, another aspect where a lot of students face difficulty is prepaid expense and outstanding expense. There also simple same logic. What is the logic? And see, if there are multiple expenses, no need to prepare multiple working notes. So what you can do is, let us say there is salary, let us say there is admin expense. Like this, there are multiple expenses. So what do? How much is paid? Take the number paid during there. Say for example, is there some adjustment in this? I think there will be some adjustment, right? So see, here they don't have an adjustment for outstanding expenses. They don't have adjustment for outstanding expenses. So let us do that. Say salary paid during the year is 1 lakh. Admin expenses paid during the year is 50,000. Okay. Again, they will give you opening prepaid, closing prepaid, opening outstanding, closing outstanding. So let me just write that. Opening outstanding, closing outstanding. Then opening prepaid, closing. Okay, that's all they will give. Right now, opening outstanding means what? Previous period expense we are paid in the current period. Is that an expense of the current period? No. So less opening outstanding. See, here also we did less opening, here also we are doing less opening. So whatever is the number, let us say 2000, deduct. Then closing outstanding, current year expense we have not yet paid. Is it an expense for the income and expenditure account purpose? Yes, it is an expense. So add closing outstanding, say 1500. Okay. Now prepaid expense, I know for the same expense there need not be prepaid and outstanding, but sometimes there can be. Let us say admin expense is a combination of 5 expenses. So few expenses may be prepaid, few expenses may be outstanding. That is very much possible. Okay. Opening prepaid. Prepaid means what? It is an asset as of the previous year end. We have paid the expense in the previous year, and the income and expenditure account should get hit in the current year. So opening prepaid you will add, closing prepaid you will deduct. Okay. Once you follow this structure, where is the confusion? No confusion at all. And in examination, if you are stressed out, first finish this working note. You'll get marks for the working note also. And from here, opening outstanding, this will be taken to balance sheet. Expense, so liability. Closing outstanding, closing outstanding is also a liability. Opening prepaid, asset. Income, opening outstanding, asset, because we have to receive the money. Subscription in advance is a liability. Subscription outstanding at the end is an asset. This is a liability, right? So these respective amounts you have to put in the balance sheet. Okay. So this is the adjustment related to expenses. So we are done with subscription. We are done with expenses. Other expenses you can directly pick up from the payment side and directly credit it to the debit to the income and expenditure. For example, 1 lakh honorarium to doctors, directly expenditure. Salaries 2,80,000, directly expenditure. Charity show expenses, there is a charity show collection also, so we have to net off and show that. We'll come to the specific adjustments. Sundry expenses, directly debit to expenditure account. Okay, so nothing complicated. Generally the institute gives you 1 mark for 3 to 4 correct entries in the income and expenditure account. Meaning to say, if I come to this income and expenditure account, how many items are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 items are there. So 11 or 12 items are there. Okay, round, if I say 12 items, roughly you will get 3 marks for preparing this income and expenditure. Then here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Another 3 marks for this. Then 1 mark working note for this, 1 mark working note for this, 1 mark working note for this, 1 mark working note for this. So your 10 marks are done. Okay. So please note, even if you are able to prepare the working notes correctly, you will get marks. Even if you are able to prepare the balance sheet correctly, you will get the marks. Don't worry about all of that, right? Now, okay, now income and expenditure account, if you see, subscription we have completed. Donation, the question says it is for general purpose. Then interest on investment is given in the question itself. Then charity show. Now things like this, wherever we have collections and related expenses. So what you do is you take the total collection less expenses. Okay, net amount will be debited or credited to income and expenditure account. Now, for example, in this case, collection is 1,25,000, expenses only 15,000. So 1,10,000 is net income to be credited. If expenses were higher, collection was less, the net amount will be debited to income account. But there is also an alternate treatment possible. Income separately you can credit, expense separately you can debit, but net presentation is always advisable, right? That is one adjustment. Now, sometimes what happens is there is fund. Let us say match fund. Okay, whenever there is a match fund, all expenses to be reduced from match fund only. All expenses to be reduced from match fund only. Okay, sometimes what happens is, let us say match fund 1 lakh, match ticket sales 50,000, match expenses, let us say 1,70,000. I did one recent problem on this also. Now, expenses minus ticket sales, if you see, 1,20,000 is the net loss. For by conducting the match, they have incurred a loss of 1,20,000. Now, this 1,20,000 you have to adjust against the match fund. Match fund has only 1 lakh balance. So, here you will adjust I'll write down below 1 lakh. Okay, and this will be 0. Balance 20,000. See, out of 1,20,000 of spends, 1 lakh was given by match fund. Balance 20,000 will be given by whom? Will be given by your income and expenditure account. This will go to income and expenditure account. But sir, what if we get a higher match collection and expenses are less? That income will be added to match fund generally, unless the question mentions otherwise. So you will have a lot of funds like this. You may have building fund. Okay, you may have ground fund. You can have many kind of fund. You can have library fund. Fund means what? Basically an amount which is given to the non-profit organization for a specific purpose. That will be shown under liability side of the balance sheet. That is the first thing. Any expense related to building, for example, you construct the building, then there is not a, to that extent, you will move the building fund out and you will move that to the general fund. That is one thing. Say for example, library fund. Now you purchase library books. When you are purchasing library books, you will set that off against library fund. Now, like this, you may have funds for various expenses. All the expenses for that specific purpose will be met out of that specific fund only. Okay. If there is any income arising because of these fund investments, they will also be added to the fund. They will not be shown in the income and expenditure account. Right? So there could be funds. Now, and the question will tell you, you need not make any assumptions. The question will clearly tell you what is this fund for, how should the fund be accounted for, and accordingly you have to do the treatment. And this one thing which comes for entrance fees. For entrance fees also, generally the question will mention. If the question does not mention, we generally capitalize this. If the question says 50% to be capitalize 50%, 50% take it to income and expenditure. Okay. Now, come. Any questions you have so far? Specific marathon classes we don't have for CMA Inter. Any specific question for so far whatever we have discussed? Sir, you have taken an easy question. There will be no question. There is not much of a confusion. It's not an easy question. It's a lengthy question. See, these type of questions will be lengthy questions for your examination. But then scope of scoring 10 out of 10 is there. I can give you a guarantee. I can write on a paper and I can give it to you. You can score 10 out of 10. Okay. Now let's look at the further adjustments. I have some tricky adjustments in the upcoming questions also. So don't worry about that. Now, we are done with this now. Amount due for medicine supply 90,000 and 1,30,000. What does this mean? This means that for medicine supply we have to pay 90,000 at the beginning, and the ending outstanding is 1,30,000. And what is the given information given in the account? Here they say payment for medicine supply is 3 lakhs. Payment for medicine supply is 3 lakhs. Means what? 3 lakhs is the total payment minus 90,000 is for the previous period. I have already shown you the format. Plus 1,30,000 is outstanding for the current period. So the total medicine, whatever you have consumed, because they don't have medicine ka balance, they have not given, right? They have not given any balance, or they have given stock of medicine also, sorry. So we have to consider this also. So let me do a working note for this. Medicines. Now what is this medicine? Medicine are basically used for maybe treatment of patients and all of that, whoever are a part of the club. Okay. Now medicines are, there would be some medicine in stock. If a medicine is still in stock, it is not an expense. Like inventory. If medicine stores, any item are in stock, they are not an expense. Okay. Now what is the total payment? Total payment, the question said, is 3 lakhs. Okay, total payment is 3 lakhs. How much is outstanding at the end of the period? Outstanding at the end of the period is 130, and due or beginning outstanding is 90,000. So outstanding at the end, outstanding at the beginning. Okay. Now if I have paid a total of 3 lakhs, I'll move this down, and 90,000 was outstanding for the previous period, means 90,000 I have paid for previous period purchases. Can I tell that? 90,000 I have paid for previous period purchases, and I have not yet paid 1,30,000 for the current period purchases. See, I made a total payment of 3 lakhs. That 3 lakhs, whatever I paid, I got some medicines. But that 3 lakhs, out of that 3 lakhs, 90,000 is for the previous period. So only 2,10,000 is for the current period. And apart from that, I still have to pay 1,30,000 to the supplier. So 3 lakhs minus 90 plus 130, 340 is the purchases. Now, if you are getting confused because of the statement, you can prepare a ledger. Creditors for medicine by balance carried down. What is the balance carried down? 90,000. 90,000. Okay. Then closing balance, to balance carried brought, my balance brought down. To balance carried down, how much? 1,30,000. How much is paid? Paid means debit creditor, credit bank. To bank, 3 lakhs. So balancing figure is purchases. So that will be 3 lakhs plus 1,30,000 minus 90,000, 340 is the purchases. Now can I say entire purchase is my expense? Can I say 3,40,000 is my expense? Is this my expense? Tell me, is this entire thing my expense? Tell me, is this entire thing my expense? 3,40,000? I have not got a response. Okay, Sugam responded no. Pawan no, no. Dinesh also says no. This is my purchase. Entire purchase is not my expense. This is what I bought as stock of my medicines. Now what I have to do is, you have to remember this golden formula. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is equal to cost of goods sold. Now here again, here it is not medicine sold. This is a golden formula, because this formula you will use for accounting, you will use for inventory currently, later on you will use for loss on inventory when you come to enter, when you do costing also you will need this formula, when you do your financial management you will need this formula. This is a standard formula, golden formula I call it. Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is cost of goods sold. Now here we are not selling medicines, but we have opening stock. What is the question say? Opening stock is 1 lakh plus 1,50,000. Sorry. So I basically need here COGS as expense. I'll prepare in a tabular format so that you are able to understand. The COGS here represents expense. So what will be my expense? Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. How much is the opening stock? 1 lakh plus purchases 3,40,000 minus closing stock of 1,30,000. So expense is 3,10,000. You can prepare this in a statement format also. Okay. So 3,10,000 is my expense. Oh, I did some mistake. 290 is what they say. 150 is the closing stock. Oh, I took it as 130. Sorry, my bad. 150 is the closing stock. See, if you take a number up and down, then also gone. Okay. I would have taken up the number incorrectly. And this is one error. A lot of times it happens, especially when they don't give in a proper alignment format. So I took 130 instead of taking 150, and I got a wrong, expense. But then I corrected it because I had the suggested answer. Right. So 2,90,000 is the expense. Okay. So this is another adjustment. This is one adjustment which you have to be aware of. Okay. Then amount is done. Then value of equipment 2,10,000 and 3 lakhs. And they have told equipment purchase 150. Balancing figure will be your depreciation. I will not do the working because it's a straightforward thing. Value of building 5 lakhs to 4,80,000. So that 20,000 is the depreciation. Cash balance is given. Opening balance of capital fund is also given to you. Then there is nothing complicated apart from whatever we have discussed. Even whatever we have discussed is simple. It's not complicated, I would say. So we have subscription, donation, interest, all of this we have covered. All of these also we have covered. Then capital fund, opening balance, surplus, and other items you put it, and be done. Now one thing, in examination, if at all you have this doubt, a page will not be sufficient. So keep one full page for income and expenditure, keep one full page for balance sheet, and after that start your working note. Don't be greedy. I keep on telling, I know I keep on repeating this thing, but I see a lot of students greedy, writing in the margin, writing below the margin, writing 2 lines in 1 line. Don't do all of that. You have paid the exam fees. Use all the paper. Okay. One thing which is specific here was this investment 10 lakhs that you need to be careful about. Apart from that, it is straightforward, right? Now, let me just look at some questions what you would have posted. Students would have posted here. Subscription is done. Then okay, so Sugam, you have said educational institution adjustment. Any specific adjustment? I'll be covering another 3 questions, key adjustments from those. Okay. Apart from that, if you have anything specific, please post it here so that I can take it up. Right now. So what is this? Yeah. Now here is a question where I hope it's visible now. Yeah. Now here is a question where what have they given? From the following balances of college, prepare income and expenditure and a balance sheet. What have they given us? They have given us a trial balance. They have given us a trial balance, and the trial balance is tallied. If the trial balance is tallied, then your balance sheet should always tally. If the trial balance is tallied, then your balance sheet should always tally. Okay. Now, they have given security deposit. Deposit, please remember, it is a balance sheet item. Okay, I'll take you one by one. Capital fund, balance sheet item. Building fund, balance sheet item. Tuition fee received, income. So as you read, you have to identify the nature and don't worry about the amount. Amount is just for a calculator. While reading the question, you have to say, okay, tuition fee, it's been income. Government grants. Now grants, we'll see any specific thing has been given. Then interest and dividend on investments, income. Hostel room rent, income. Mess receipts net means what? Mess receipts net means whatever they have spent plus whatever they have collected, net income. College stores sell. So they have sold something in the college store. So now here there is a mix of trading activity and also service activity. That's it. Nothing complicated. Trading plus service. We'll understand how to do that. Then outstanding expenses. Now we'll see if there are any adjustments. If this is an outstanding expenses of the previous period, then that's the opening item. If they've already adjusted, then that's the current item. Okay. Then stock of stores and supplies opening. So they have mentioned, see, this they have clearly mentioned. This is opening, means opening stock. Purchases they have given, salaries to teaching staff, research staff, scholarship given, student welfare expenses, games and sports, other investments they have given. Investment is a balance sheet item. Land, building, plant and machinery, furniture and fittings, motor vehicle, provision for depreciation. Now a lot of students get confused between this, provision for depreciation and depreciation for the period. Please understand, provision for depreciation means accumulated depreciation from the beginning. Accumulated depreciation from the beginning, and current period depreciation will be added to this provision for depreciation. Okay, this is given when the entity or when the institute or the education institute or the club or the company maybe, they follow something called as gross method of accounting for fixed assets. So basically building 1550 minus 490 is what is the balance. Okay, then they have given depreciation, cash at bank and library. They have given 10. Material and supplies consumed from college stores, teaching 52,000, research 1,45,000, students welfare 78,000, games or sport 24,000. So they themselves have consumed stores. So what did we see here? Here we had something called as stores purchases. We also had stock of stores. Okay, and now what you need to understand here is, I'll just write it down. There is a store. From these stores you are making some sales, and also you are doing internal consumption. Okay, and you are doing some purchases. Now when you are doing internal consumption, what will you do? You will reduce this side, right? And this will be at cost. So this is something like you have withdrawn for your own purpose or own use. What do you say, drawings and all in sole proprietorship? Not the same, but something related to that. Right? Something related to that. Internal means the college itself has consumed, and when they have consumed internally, that consumption will be always at cost. You will not have profit because of self-consumption. So I purchase some goods, I consume the same goods, and I say I made a profit. That will not work, right? If I purchase some goods, I'll consume also at cost. Let's say I purchased one mobile phone, 10,000. Market price is 12,000, selling price. If I'm using that mobile phone, can I say I made a profit of 2,000? How can I make a profit? By dealing with myself or by trading with myself. So there will be not be any profit, there will be only at cost. Okay. Then tuition fee receivable from government from backward class scholars 82,000. So that is a tuition fee receivable. Now as I told you, something which is given in adjustment will appear 2 times. Please keep this in mind. Something which is given in adjustment will appear 2 times. Okay, that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Then store selling price are fixed to give a net profit of 15% on selling price. Now what does this mean? Store selling prices are fixed to give a net profit of 15% on selling price. Means there is college store sales 7,60,000. So let me write here 7,60,000. On this there is a 15% profit. So less 15% on selling price. So 760 multiplied by 15%. How much is that? 1,14,000. So cost of stores sold. Cost of stores sold is how much? 7,60,000 minus 1,14,000, 6,46,000. This is what is the cost of stores sold. Okay. And please note here there is an adjustment that there is a cost of store internally consumed as well. So that also we have to factor in when we are calculating items related to stores. Okay. Now one thing what you'll observe here is they have given us depreciation percentages also. They have not given us closing stock of stores and spares or stores, whatever they've called it, materials and supplies. They have not told us what is the closing stock. How will we calculate? Again the golden formula. What is the golden formula? Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is equal to cost of goods sold. Now here it is cost of stores sold. Okay, so opening stock is how much? Opening stock is 310. Now this outstanding expense, because we have not been given any other information, we can assume that this is closing. And please note, this outstanding expense, because it is given in trial balance, it will appear only once. Don't go back and add it to the expenses again. It will only appear in the liability side of the balance sheet. See, these few tricks, I used to follow these tricks, which helped me tally each and every profit and loss and balance sheet that I prepared in my entire you can say around 5 plus 3 8 years of education, 9 years actually. Post qualification also I did a SEMA from UK. Tallying the balance sheet was never a problem because I was very clear with these specific fundamentals. So once you're clear with this, that should not be a challenge. Okay, now stock of stores and supplies opening balance is given as 3,10,000. Purchases is given to be how much? 8,20,000. Now friends, I purchased 8,20,000, but out of that 8,20,000, I kept something aside and I used it for my own college. I purchased 8,20,000, but this out of this 8,20,000, I took something aside and I used it, consumed it for the college itself. What is the self-consumption? Self-consumption is 52, 45, 78, 24. I am reducing from the purchases because I got 820. I kept something aside. Only the balance is the purchases for external sales. Okay. So internal consumption is 52 and 145 and 78 and 24. How much is this? 2,99,000 is internal consumption. So adjusted purchases. It's not technically adjusted purchase, you can say net purchases. Even that is also not correct. So you can just do a reduction actually. It's a net amount. Okay, so you have opening stock plus purchases. Closing stock is given, closing stock is not given. So if you look at the formula, opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock is equal to COGS. Now we have the COGS. We don't have the closing stock. So what will be the closing stock? Closing stock is equal to opening COGS minus, no, not minus, sorry. Closing stock is equal to, I'll take closing stock that side. Opening stock plus purchases minus COGS. So opening stock plus purchases, not this purchases minus COGS or cost of store sold. How much is that? 646. So how much is the closing stock? 310 plus 521 minus COGS. 1,85,000 is the closing stock. 1,85,000 is the closing stock. Now this closing stock will appear two times. Now, a lot of you will have a doubt. When I come to the solution, a lot of you will have a doubt and I'll address the doubt at that point of time. Okay. So this 1,85,000 is my closing stock. Okay. Now, is there anything specific here? Nothing else is specific here. So let us see how the solution has been. I'm not doing the entire solution because it will take a lot of time as well. Right now, yeah. Okay. Now, by tuitions and other fee, 8,92,000. What is the tuition and other fee? Tuition fee is 8,10,000. One. Then there was an adjustment which said that government has to give us 82,000. So 8,92,000 will be your total in the income side, and 82. So one thing that I want all students to notice: the moment you post 8,92,000 here, right? Immediately post the amount receivable from government on the asset side so that you don't miss it. So that adjustment, what I told you here, it is 8,10,000 plus 82. It's adjustment impact number 1 plus 82,000 what you were supposed to receive, another impact. Okay, so two impacts have happened here. Then you have government grants 5,01,000. Okay, at a foundation level, you don't need to worry much about accounting treatment. We have a proper accounting standard when it comes to CA Inter. Now, government grants can be considered to be of capital nature. They can be considered to be of revenue nature. Generally, when nothing is mentioned and looking at this that the government is giving grants for meeting scholarship, tuition fee pending. Here also you see, right? They are trying to give tuition fee from the government for backward class. So this is more for meeting the revenue expenditure is what is the assumption that we can take. Write a note clearly. Government grant is assumed to be of revenue in nature, and hence that it has been taken to income statement. Okay. Then apart from that, is there anything? Interest and dividends on investment, there are no other adjustments. 1,75,000 income. Hostel room rent, income. Mess receipts net, income. Now college stores sales. Now friends, please keep one thing in mind. Whenever you are preparing this income and expenditure account and there are item of sales, sale of goods, there are item of sale of goods. So better way would be for the presentation, what you can do is prepare a working note for computing profit on sale of goods. Now here we don't need to prepare a separate working note for profit on sale of goods because we have already calculated 1,14,000. We have already calculated 1,14,000. Now you can prepare that as an account format also. So what I'm saying there is store sales. You can prepare as if you are preparing a trading account. How? By sales. How much is the sales? 760. Correct? Then to opening stock. How much is the opening stock? 3,10,000. Then two purchases less internal consumption. How much is the purchases? 8,20,000. How much is the internal consumption? 2,99,000. This can come in the inside column. Okay. So what you can do is you can do it this way. So this will be this plus this. Okay. Then by gross profit. Oh, sorry, to gross profit. 1,14,000. That is 15%. And by closing stock. 760 minus 310 minus 521 minus 114. $310 plus 521 plus 114 minus sales, you get 1,85,000 closing stock. That is what we got here. Okay, so you can prepare something like this as a working note. If percentage is not given, see in this question they have given a percentage. Sir, can we do it in a statement format? Yes, you can do it in a statement format. Sir, can we include this as a part of the income and expenditure? If you want, yes, you can include that also, but try to avoid doing that, because it will make the income and expenditure account very clumsy. This is one acceptable way in which you can prepare. Okay, now I was telling you, right, the adjustment will have to appear twice. What adjustment? Your internal consumption of 2,99,000. This adjustment, this 2,99,000 of adjustment, this has to come twice. Sir, how twice? One, in determining this gross profit, you will take the net impact of gross profit in the income and expenditure. So basically you have considered one impact here, and because it is an internal consumption and because it is an expenditure, you will again debit it to the income and expenditure account separately to show that this is the material that has been consumed internally. So what you will do is, here you see individually materials and supplies consumed for teaching 52, for research 1,45,000, for sports and games 24,000, and for student welfare expense 78,000. That has been broken down and they have been posted against respective heads. Other expenses are coming directly from the trial balance. Depreciation is straightforward, rates have been given, you can calculate it. Then profit on store sales, we have calculated this separately. From that you can credit it to the income account. Mess receipts, hostel receipts, straight away directly from the question we can pick the numbers and we can post it here, right? Then coming to balance sheet, assets are anything I need to explain it to here. Fixed assets, your land, your building, less depreciation, all of that, you are used to it. Then library, they have given library, whose mean generally library books, no other adjustments have been given, so you can pick it up directly from there. Investments have been given. Then stock of stores, that is we have already calculated 185. Tuition fees receivable 82 and cash at bank. And security deposit, as I told you, is a liability item. Outstanding expenses 2,35,000. What was this outstanding expenses? In the trial balance they are given outstanding expenses. Then building fund is given here, opening balance and income rate. So here also see one more thing. Once you have prepared this detailed note, right, provision for depreciation, building, plant and furniture, and you have calculated the closing balance, again in the balance sheet you are not required to give the breakup. You can just say working note number so and so, and you will get the marks for that, right? So any questions in this? I hope Sugam, with this question that I have discussed, your stores doubt is clear. Any more questions in this specific store sales adjustment? Otherwise, I'll move on to the next thing. Yeah. Thanks, Peter. I hope, I think I suggest you guys have your own name so that I can address you by your respective names. Okay, right. So see, this now actually speaking, this is a lengthy question. I'm not saying this is a small question you can finish in 10 minutes. No, it's not that. But if you do it rightly, it's 10 out of 10 in your pockets. And this is one chapter which I believe after you have done final accounts for so long, this is one chapter you should be able to score 10 marks out of 10 marks. There should not be any challenge in this. See, a new adjustment might make it. For example, assume for a moment this adjustment was given for the first time. Instead, had never asked this kind of adjustment, and this adjustment of store sales receipt was, we did not know what to do. Okay, we did not know what to do, so this item gets wrong, because of which this item gets wrong, second item, because of which this item gets wrong. 3 items wrong. Here generally capital fund carries 1 mark, so you lose 1 mark here, and on the income and expenditure you lose another 1 to 2 marks. So basically you have lost 3 marks, but you can still score 7 marks if you post other entries correctly. That is what I want to tell you. So don't leave a question just because you don't understand one adjustment. Do it at the end. I'm okay, do it at the end, I don't care, but please attempt. These are the cases where you can just copy the balance sheet and score marks. Okay, right? So this is done. This one, from the following income and expenditure, prepare receipts and payments. So this is the third kind of question that I was talking about. They'll give you an income and expenditure and they'll want you to prepare receipts and payment account. This is just reverse working. So here I'll just give you 2 examples, then I think rest you will follow in place. Salaries 4,80,000. Salaries is the income and expenditure item, 4,80,000. So is there any adjustment here? Salaries outstanding 24,000 and 32,000. Now how do we do that? Salary expense is given to be how much? Salary expense is given to be 4,80,000. This is the expense, accrual basis. This is accrual basis. We have to arrive at the cash payment. Now, if 4,80,000 is the expense and they say that outstanding at the end of the year is 32, means what? Did we pay this? We did not pay this. So less outstanding at end. How much is that? 32,000. 32,000 we did not pay. So how much did we pay? 480 minus 32. 448 is what we paid. Wait. We also paid something from the previous year. How much is that? 24,000. Add opening outstanding. How much is that? 24,000. So total payment will be 4,72,000, right? So that is how you have to calculate one by one. You can prepare a ledger also. 4,72,000 is the amount paid. Okay. Then printing and stationery. Is there any adjustment given here? Printing and stationery, no adjustment. So you can take as it is. Then postage, telephone, office, bank interest, audit fees. Audit fees 10,000. Then audit fees payable 8,000 and 10,000. Now, if you know how to adjust this, You know also how to adjust this. So that also you can do it correctly. Then bank interest 22,000, and they say bank loan is 1,20,000 and 1,20,000, and did they tell us anything else? They did not tell us anything else. Bank loan is 120, and bank interest is 22. So entire bank interest is a payment. Entire thing is paid. Then AGM meeting expenses. Is there any adjustment? No adjustment. So entire that is also payment. Okay. Surplus, fine, that is out of income and expenditure. Subscription. Now here also we have to do ulta working. What is that? Subscription income. Now for this also I'll show you subscription account once. Then I'll show you the table format also. Okay. Subscription account. Combine everything into a single account. Combine everything into a single account. Subscription outstanding. Opening subscription outstanding. Asset debit balance to opening subscription outstanding. How much is the debit balance? 64,000. Okay. Then closing outstanding. So one is debit, other side will come this side. How much is that? 72,000. If opening subscription outstanding is this side, by opening subscription in advance, will come this side. How much is that? Subscription in advance 52 is opening to closing subscription advance. In advance, what I mean, 33,600. Then have we given bank payment? We have not. Have we given the bank receipt? We have not been given what is the bank receipt. What are we given? We are given what is the income. Means how much is the amount credited to income and expenditure? To income and expenditure account. How much? 6,80,000. So the balancing figure here that you'll get, which is this plus this plus this minus this minus this, for 6,80,000. Sorry. So the receipt is 6,53,600. Okay. Now you can use the statement format also. How? Income, subscription income. How much is the subscription income? 6,80,000. Now did we collect entire 6,80,000? No, there is something which is outstanding which we did not collect. So less outstanding at end, because we have not collected. So outstanding at the end is 72,000. Then we collected something which was outstanding at the beginning. At outstanding at beginning. How much is that? Outstanding at beginning is 64. Okay. Then there is something which is subscription received in advance. There is something which is subscription received in advance at the beginning of the period. Did we collect that in the current period? We did not collect that in the current period. So less advance at beginning, that is 52, at advance at end, because we collected. Next year income we collected now, so you will add that 33,600. So if you sum this up, that is 653,600. Okay. And again I tell you, in exams if you get stressed, no, even if you are able to figure out this, if this is less, the other has to be add. If outstanding at beginning has to be add, outstanding advance at beginning has to be less. I don't teach students to by heart, but understand the concept. And in exam, see, in examination 3 hours, target should be to complete the questions correctly. So remember the logics, understand the logic, also remember the keys, tricks, because if you forget, forgetting happens, right? We can forget, stress, first time writing a professional exam, so much of stress would be there. So please, keep this format in mind so that it will be easy for you in the examination, right? So 653,600, that is what we did. We also got the same number, obviously. Then value of club premises have not changed. Value of sports equipment 208 to 252, and there is a depreciation. There is a depreciation of 28,000. Now here also, if you see, you can prepare a sports equipment account. Okay, to balance brought down. Generally, I prefer account format because that is how we have learnt accounting. So balance brought down, sports equipment 208,000. Then there is depreciation. How much is the depreciation? Depreciation is 28,000. Closing balance. How much the balance carried down? 252. So 280 this side, 208 this side. So balancing figure to bank purchases 208 minus 208 minus this. Oops, sorry. 280 minus 208, 72,000. Okay, that's the purchases. So that you can see will come as a purchases here. $72,000. Okay. Other than that, is there anything you have left out? No. Other than that, everything is coming directly. And balance sheet preparation. Once you have the receipts and payment account, prepare the opening balance sheet, closing balance sheet, and be done. So 2 marks for this, maybe another 3 marks for this, 3 marks for that, and your working notes 1, 2, 3, some marks for the working notes. They are prepared in statement format. It is not always necessary to prepare in statement format. And if there are similar items like you have salary and audit fees, you can combine them in one and prepare the working note so that you save time in the examination. Okay. So that was another question I wanted to discuss with you. This we have already discussed. Same question, similar question, and they have given, instead of giving in a tabular format, they have given it in a statement format. That is it. And other than that, I don't see any difficulty for you to complete these kind of questions in the examination, right? So I have covered quickly. I think I have told you how to do the subscription part. I told you how to do the expenses part. Then we understood some specific adjustments, store sales related adjustments, capital fund related quickly. We library fund, sports fund related thing, we did it quickly. Then we saw how to calculate receipts and payments from income and expenditure. So basically, see, once you arrive at those numbers, it is just about putting those numbers at the right places. Okay, this can be a 10 out of 10 mark question for you. If there is a tricky adjustment, I suggest you attempt it maybe towards the end, but spare some time for this. You can score good marks in this. I have not seen students, unless you don't know the concepts, it's a very difficult thing. Otherwise, you can get it easily. Right, any other questions you have? I would be happy to answer that. Otherwise, we'll meet up on Friday with the next topic. What if percentage of net profit is not given? See, they'll give you something. They'll not say, they see if so. So if they do not, say they given you, say what did they give? They gave you sales. Okay. Then they gave you purchases. Okay. Then if they do not give you profit percent, they'll give you closing stock. See, they have to give you something based on which you will be able to compute. So here, assume for a moment, this was the question, right? This was the question. Assume for a moment, this profit number is not given. Then they'll have to give you the closing stock number. Once they give you closing stock number, you can calculate the profit number. Or they may give you percentage profit on cost. Either way, they'll give you something. It's not that they will not give you and then they will just test you. They'll give you a way to find the number that you are required to find the number. Okay, so it was nice taking the session. I hope I've been able to help you revise this one tricky chapter in CA Foundation Accounting, and this is definitely a very, very, very important chapter. Every year we have got a question. Every year we have got a question, and this is a 10 out of 10 mark question. No doubt about that. You will be able to score 10 out of 10 marks. Okay. Then if you still have any doubts on this, please put it out in the forums. If I find something interesting out of that, I'll take it up in the next session before I start the next topic. Okay, and thanks everyone. Thanks for taking out your time. If you find this revision session to be useful, do subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you get notified whenever we have these revision sessions. Do share it with your friends. Do spread the word. I hope by watching this 1.5 hour of lecture, you'll have a good revision for not-for-profit accounting in the examination. Okay, thank you, and we will meet again on Friday with some another interesting topic. Have a nice time, study well, and yes, please plan for the mocks. I forgot to tell in the beginning. Yeah, you can ask in the WhatsApp group we have for our specific students, or you can ask it in the forums. We'll answer there also. And see, even if you want see practical problem number 2, adjustment number 8. Yeah, we'll just see. No, there's no adjustment number 8. One. I think you can put it out in the forums. I'll take it up from there and I'll explain it to you. 7. Purchases made during the year amounted to 15 lakhs. Okay, what is the question about? The following receipts and payments account are given. Okay. Following receipts and payments accounts are given. Okay. Then you have salaries, creditors, loss and table, property, closing balance. Okay. Then receipt side. Coffee room, soft drinks, swimming pool, tennis court. Basically, they sell something at these places. 10, 70, 5, 10, 80 and 102 is given. Okay. Then this is the receipt part. What is the company doing? It's a club. Okay. Now, one more thing. What? Then which one? Problem number 1. That's what I'm looking at. Adjustment number 7. Correct. Oh, 7. Oh, sorry. I thought I was looking at 8. Okay. Sum of 20,000 received in October 19 as interest donation from an applicant was to be refunded as he has not fulfilled the required membership qualification. The refund was made on 3rd of June of 2020. Okay. Now, what does this adjustment mean? This adjustment means that the firm, they have received donation. And because the person did not meet the criteria for being admitted, this donation has to be refunded. Think of it, you have paid donation to a college for admission, but because of some reason you could not get admitted to that college. The college has refunded that amount to you, or the college will refund that amount to you. Now generally this what happens is, this is called subsequent events. You'll understand at interlevel much, that will be covered in much depth. Now here, because we have to refund that amount, we know that we have to refund that amount, then can we capitalize that as a part of my capital fund? Or can I, show it as a part of my capital fund? I cannot show. I will show it as a separate liability of 20,000 which has to be refunded. So from the total donation collected, what is the total donation? 1 lakh. 80,000 will be capitalized, 20,000 will be shown as a liability which has to be refunded. Okay, so let's see what they have done. See, interest donation refundable 20, because I have to refund that money. I cannot add it to my fund. I have paid back. So that is how, that is the adjustment. Okay, sure. Thanks a lot, students, and it was nice taking this session. We'll come up with another important chapter in the next session on Friday. See you at 4 o'clock on Friday. Thank you.